Yo, what is up guys? This is Lite Crypto and today I'm gonna be doing the long-awaited airdrop guide on Eclipse, which is probably the most bullish thing that I'm farming right now, and the reason why is because it is the Ethereum's first SVM layer 2, meaning Solana virtual machine. So imagine Solana, but it's instead of using Ethereum as its gas token, and that is a very deadly combo in my opinion. They have already raised $50 million through different funding rounds, so this is definitely a project that is going to be doing extremely well, and there are projects which are doing something similar of nature, but not exactly what Eclipse is doing. And in terms of my testing so far, the fees are definitely lower than in any other Ethereum layer 2, at least on sending transactions. The smart contracts is a different beast. But let's kind of get into what possibly could be the criteria for this airdrop, and there's a lot of things we're going to be covering here today, so make sure you're going to be paying attention and maybe rewatch this video a couple of times. So the mainnet, I think, launched back in November, and there were some commemorative NFTs already, which might play into the eventual airdrop, who knows, but those are still viable in the secondary markets. The first thing we need to cover, obviously, is bridges. Eclipse is using a couple of selected wallets, and I think one of them is OKX. You have Backpack Wallet, you have Salmon Wallet, which is native to Eclipse, and then there was a fourth one, which is escaping my mind. It is probably going to happen in the future that we are going to be seeing Phantom support as well. And one of the things we can use here, there's three bridges that I recommend using. Number one is Comet. Comet has an experience program right now, so doing transactions to Eclipse, you have the ability to burn airdrop points by doing so. Now, I do usually recommend using the native bridge as well, although obviously that is from Ethereum mainnet to Eclipse mainnet, and that's the only way that is working. I don't know if there's actually yes, you can bridge between. That is definitely going to be one of the criterias to have amount of bridged, and usually they tend to use the natural bridge as one of the criteria. Has happened in the past, but not always. There has been airdrops which have not counted the normal bridge, but this is one of the options in case you want to use Ethereum mainnet. It's quite fast, and then they have some instant feature which is coming soon, so make sure that you got to pay attention when that is going to be launching. The third option is Hyperlane, and Hyperlane is a great option because they have also probably airdrop coming, and it is probably one of the most valuable bridges that you can farm right now. So these are kind of the three options that you can go for in terms of moving your money into Eclipse. Remember, Eclipse is using the Solana-based wallet format, so it's not using OX wallets. And then we have Eclipse's own liquid staking token that is called TETH, and this is likely going to be part of the criteria for their token. This can accumulate you different types of points, including nucleus points, and LST points on AetherFi, Renzo, Swell, Dinero. I'm not really familiar with this one, unless they have rebranded recently, and Puffer Finance. So it's basically like putting your money into farming multiple different tokens for you. Instead of like having to farm billion tokens, you can use this, and that is going to be the technology. So, and this is using Hyperlane underneath, so you're farming Hyperlane whatever thingos in the background, and it's also getting you a yield on this token as well. So it's pretty bullish value proposition to use. I think I would actually move quite many of the, now that kelp is kind of coming into an end, there's not really anything super bullish on these other things. Most of these have already done their drops. Then we have, okay, so here you can do the mint ETH. This is going to be only done through Ethereum, remember guys, and there's no redeemos as of right now, so that's another point that you need to remember. Now let's get into the world of NFTs. Now there is a native NFT marketplace known as Scope NFT. This is probably the most important focus of this video, aside from liquidity. There are a lot of very powerful mints in this ecosystem. One of them is validators, floor at 0.23 ETH. I am going to be buying one of these, and these are likely going to be part of the criteria. They are criteria on another drop, which we're going to be covering in a second. The first NFT collection, the Genesis collection, is the After School Club. Be more expensive NFT, not for everybody, but I think 100% they are gonna be part of this eligibility for Eclipse Airdrop. That's my, or they're gonna have their own token. But this always go for the chain's blue chip collection. There's always gonna be a one usually that's gonna be doing well. There are some cheap NFTs that you can mint at $4. These are a great way to get transactions. Who knows? Scope might have their own own release of their token, so they might be part of the Eclipse activity, and they might be also doing their own token on top of it. So there's many different possibilities here, and there's a lot of things that are getting launched here. There was one collection recently, the Solar Companions. I actually minted one of these, and these actually are going to be getting you an airdrop on Solar Dex, which is also on our list. And so there's already a couple of collections already here. Most of them, these are the kind of 3 ones: Solar Companions, Validators, and ASC. Solar, I don't think is going to be like super good buy, because I don't really believe that much in Dex drops. But a lot of the floors here are actually quite low, so you can buy on secondary or mint on primary, whatever you want to do, guys. And maybe you can get like $1 or $2 as an extra by minting them and waiting for 2 months when the mints end, and they might be considered like collector items and whatever, or part of the criteria for Scope NFT. So definitely these 2 NFT collections here are, I think, pretty good guesses for eligibility, and I would definitely not fade on them. Then we have Invariant. This is the go-to-go DEX on this chain right now. So there are other DEXs, but I think this is the best one. They also have an actual points program going on for Ethereum USDC pair. I actually put a $10 of both of them here just to accumulate some points, and it might be also playing into the criteria for the actual airdrop. Sometimes they look your liquidity positions, but $10 on both pairs might be too low, to be honest. So let's see how that goes. Then we have lending protocols. There's 3 of them in this chain. Number 1 is Safe Finance. This is the old, what was it called? Solend. Yes, it was Solend before, and now it's called Safe Finance. I don't know if they're going to be doing another drop on, they just did Send on Suiland. So I don't know if they're going to be having one also here on Eclipse, but they also have the position where you can deposit it here and get some yield top of that. So that's kind of interesting. But it's showing 0% APR right now, so that's not very hot. These are not super competitive, so I always said that these lending protocols in terms of airdrops are only for millionaires. So unless you know what you're doing and you want some very, very low yield, it may not be worth it, because these can get hacked and all that. So it's not really worth the risk. Another one is called Enso. This is actually on 3 different platforms, on Sui, Solana, and Eclipse. And this is actually pretty promising. So it's lockup period, so I can lock up 200 USDC for 14 days, and I will get 17% APR on this deal. That's pretty bullish on me, and I'm definitely going to be using this. They also have a points program. This is like a bit different formatted from your normal lending protocol. They have more like, call it options or whatever, and I have already a few points over here. I also will have my referral link down below. They seem to have a Telegram thing. I have no idea what that is, but there's also daily claim that you can do. So in case you're not going to be doing any liquidity here, whatever, or any options, you can claim every day to get free points on their system. So that's pretty cool. Then there's another lending protocol known as Astral, which is on Epoch 0. Not too much worth about. I mean, they're at least using the PITES technology, which is good. So there's no like, it kind of prevents from a lot of hacking happening and things like that. I'm not going to be participating on this because I know that this is not going to go anywhere. I would rather just go with the other 2 that I just mentioned. Then there's another DEX called Lifinity. Not really much to write about. No points programs as of right now. It doesn't mean that there won't be a token. But when I look at historically some of these new DEXs, AMMs, which have emerged, they have been pretty poor on a lot of these new chains. So I would never really do much of, I mean, if you want to farm transactions, this is kind of way to go. But then we have a couple of domain places. We have all domains, and one of this is actually interesting about all domains is that they will give you a free domain by linking your Twitter account, and you get it for 5 months. So you can get your own handle for 5 months for free, and then you can renew it and you will be getting points. So you will not get any points by just getting the free one. By renewing, linking your wallet address and setting it as your main domain, it will give you extra points. Following them on Twitter and things like that will give you extras as well. Joining their Discord, and also holding Leica, which is a meme coin, kind of big one on Eclipse, might be worth IPing into. It might like boost up once the actual token releases and the ecosystem starts to boom. And then we have the Validators NFT, which we were talking about earlier. This will also give you points under this all domains thing. Not super much, but hey, that's another bonus that you're going to be getting by getting this NFT. I'm seeing this a lot more, that NFTs are giving you multipliers and bonuses on different points programs. We are starting to see that a lot. Mitos is a good example, and which we just reviewed a couple of days ago. Another domain platform, we have Eclipse domains. They are going to be having an NFT collection and a token. And by holding the NFT, I think you're going to be getting token as well. So there is some interest on this. I don't think this is going to print very hard, but hey, it's just, we want to gather some transactions on the chain. I guess you could play around with this one. Moving on, we have Yapper. This is probably something that people have seen already because they're kind of working on multiple different blockchains. And they have this Kaido NFT actually also, which has done very, very well. It's like 2 Ethereum floor right now. And this is kind of like some type of AI agent thing. I don't know much about this project, honestly. I have to look into this a lot more because people are getting super bullish on it. And this seems to be like some weird mixture of social program. You get like points, I guess, by tweeting, by yapping. And I think you need to use like the yap hashtag or some shit. I don't know, honestly. But this is something you worthwhile watching into. And especially if you have a lot of Twitter followers, you're going to be getting good points, I guess, here on this platform. But another very, very good social thing. Not great for maybe getting transactions because there's nothing that is happening on chain right now. But it's operating on a couple of different chains as of right now. Ones that I recommend obviously farming are Berachain and Monad as well, besides Eclipse. So this is a good project. Moving on, we have Solar Studios, and this is the Solar Dex I was talking about earlier with the NFT collection, Solar Companions. So this is part of their Dex, and I think you're going to be holding this NFT will be getting you tokens inside this Dex. And this is another Dex where you can have a decent amount of liquidity right now in order to trade if you don't want to use invariant. And these are definitely going to have their own points programs and things like that. So yeah, another option. And then we have a predictions market called Sharp Trade. And I actually did do a prediction just a minute ago here. This is like a good way to farm transaction. Yes, this is like a coin toss, flipping. So I will say ETH will doom. I will do the lowest transaction. Here is the fee. And approved, and now it's confirmed. And I already won once, not to flex or anything, but basically there's a prediction market. There's also options over here. I do like options. So this is a good way to accumulate money and also accumulate a lot of transactions. So if you're not familiar with Eclipse options, you might want to read more on that. But hey, the predictions market is pretty cool. There's also a referral program over here. And I just like the design of this website and the kind of the idea of it. So another one that I recommend doing. It's a very good way to get transactions under the chain. Then lastly, we have Memecoin Launchpad, another way to accumulate a lot of transactions called Fight Horse. There's actually a couple of other ones, but this is native to this chain, so it's one that I would recommend doing. And they have probably their own token launch at some point, which is probably going to do okay as well. And that's kind of wraps it up what I have to share with you guys today. And it goes to say that there is going to be the same criteria as we are seeing with other sites and other chains. You want to have a lot of liquidity, you want to have a lot of transactions throughout multiple days and weeks, and you want to have bridge volume, you want to have NFTs, and testnet could be criteria, but I think it might be too late to do anything testnet related. And here's, by the way, the estimated transaction fee on DeFi. So this is very competitive price. And I just think that Eclipse is definitely going to print, and I don't really need to pitch it out more. I think it's just going to be really, really, really good airdrop, but we don't never know how many percentage they're going to be giving to the airdrop and what are going to be the criteria. We can only speculate. But there's money to be made with some of these NFT collections launching here and some of the tokens that are going to be launching on the Eclipse ecosystem. And we're going to be seeing a lot of Solana dApps also maybe doing their Eclipse versions because they're pretty easy to port over, in my opinion. That's what I gathered. So expect a lot of that happening as well. But that basically wraps up my video. There's probably going to be some type of new community vote happening on the YouTube community poll later on. Not today, but some point. I still got a couple of videos that I'm going to be dropping out this year, including the Year of the End review, which is going to have a lot of airdrop alpha, so you don't want to miss that one out. And then we're probably going to be doing another rundown of some current going airdrops, a lot of testnet stuff going on, which I need to cover, and a lot of programs. But thanks for watching, guys. I will be seeing you in the next video when it will be dropping out. Cheers.